All right, so it's Jaime II, A Storm of Swords, part of this road trip adventure type thing with these three unlikely companions. The POV character, Jaime Lannister himself, Brienne of Tarth, and Cleo's Lannister / Frey. The latter character didn't actually make it in this part of the story in the HBO series. Another example of character culling they did for TV. I guess because they wanted to build this sort of love-hate dynamic without a third wheel. Love-hate relationship between Jaime and Brienne. So just Brienne and Jaime in the TV series. In fact, I said it before, why don't I go ahead and pronounce it Jaime while I'm at it, since the name actually is spelled like the Spanish name Jaime, quite a common name in Spain. You know, it's not spelled as in Jamie, I don't know, like Jamie Lee Curtis, for example. Hashtag just saying. So anyway, it's a chapter that takes place in an inn, so you know it's going to be good. It's a relatively quiet chapter, you know, no bloodbath in this one. Still, some tropes deconstructed here, because it's an inn that's run by an innkeep who is not an innkeep, a sort of family-run business, which is run by a family that is not really a family. And even the business part isn't really business per se, because in this part of the Riverlands, ravaged by war, a coin can't really be used to purchase goods and services because the person you give it to wouldn't know where to spend it. But we'll get to all of that later. Now, it should be borne in mind, dear listener, that this chapter takes place before the Battle of the Blackwater is concluded, because as we'll find out, the innkeep who isn't an innkeep, TM, says that as far as he knows, Stannis is in the process of attacking King's Landing. It's at King's Landing's doors. And now, true, one could say that, okay, well, I says, yeah, all right, of course, they would say that, wouldn't it? Because news travels slowly for those folks who don't have access to ravens, actual messengers, or indeed any form of social media. But do you remember the note on chronology that George R. R. Martin placed as a sort of an introduction to this book? Let me quote, dear listener. The reader should realize, here we go, there it is, that the opening chapters of A Storm of Swords do not follow the closing chapters of A Clash of Kings so much as overlap them. So there. And okay, this is already chapter 11 in ASOS. Not counting the prologue, but considering that it's only the second of Jaime's chapters, I guess that it does qualify as an opening chapter. Right, okay, chapter 2, Jaime II. The most precise ASOIAF timeline in existence, a document you can find online. Oh, by the way, I silly me, I finally tracked down the author. He goes by the name of Feldman 10, and as it turns out, he's none other than Alan Feldman, the blog master, is that what they call it? Blog administrator of what's it called? A Marinese Blot. A great place to find some insightful essays. So I warmly recommend it to you, dear listener. Unless you, dear listener, happen to be Alan Feldman, in which case I say, well done. Well done. Good job. Okay, so what was I saying? That timeline, Alan's most precise timeline in existence, which is this spreadsheet you can find online, places this chapter before Tyrion 15 from a Clash of Kings, where the latter is in bed, Tyrion, that is, no longer the hand of the king, is no longer in the hand of the king's headquarters, and he is soon to realize that he's no longer the hand of the king. And he's raving, he's lost half his nose at the battle which has just ended, okay? So all of this has yet to come. So I guess we have a rough idea of where this chapter is actually sitting, in the time continuum. Let's get into it. It's, to paraphrase Jerome, a lady and two men in a boat, not three men in a boat. And but I'm no lady, Brienne would interject at this point. And they spot the inn from the boat and think, okay, an inn. Oh, how delightful. And Cleo's whose job description is hostage / errand / message boy, and he's been around these parts a couple of times. He goes, yeah, let's stop for a pint, because they brew a mean IPA around here. The inn is none other than the inn of the Kneeling Man. The story they tell the tourists as to why it's called that is that it was built on the very spot where Torrhen Stark, last of the kings of the north, bent the knee to Aegon the Conqueror. The story went that Torrhen was all like, "We shall never surrender," and Aegon was like, "Yeah, I've got 3 dragons, mate." And Torrhen said, "We surrender," and the rest is history. Well, this part is history as well. So anyway, so they enter. I think it's Jaime. Jaime forces the door open with his shoulder. It's not a very welcoming inn. You shouldn't have to. You have to force the door open. Open the door, and they're greeted, and it's about to become less friendly even, because they're greeted by a crossbow right in their faces. I mean, Jaime's face, to be more precise. A crossbow held by a 15-year-old boy who's aiming it at Jaime. Aiming at Jaime. I like the sound of that, aiming at Jaime. Okay, right, let's continue. So you see, it's not really a business in the way, you and I, gentle listener, would expect a business to be run. Kind of like, the Hard Rock Cafe, or, welcome to Fridays, table for 3, grabs 3 menus, okay, follow me. Yeah, none of that. And then the innkeeper arrives. Totally mad. I can totally picture him. He's apron. He's just drying his hands on his apron, stained apron, and he's like, no, I'm not really the innkeep. I haven't got the deed to this place, not as such, but since the rightful owners aren't around, the wife and I figured it's ours. We're kind of like in that Korean movie, Parasites. Or better still, yeah, remember that TV series with The Riches, with Eddie Izzard, Minnie Driver? Never heard of any of that? Right, okay. But anyway, so we're not the owners. Well, what happened to the owners? You ask, sir? Why, killed, of course. By whom? By whom? I can tell you're highborn, because you asked by whom. And I will tell you, I don't know. Around here, we're just trying to make a living, mate. Wolves, trouts, bloody lions, they're all bandits as far as I'm concerned. Now, do you want to hear today's specials or not? We've got hard bread, stale oatcakes, rubbish ale, lousy food and warm beer. There's a pub in Amsterdam called Lousy Food and Warm Beer. I don't know if it was established by a British entrepreneur with a huge self-deprecating sense of humor. I don't know if it still exists, actually. I haven't been to Amsterdam in a while. I am here, stuck in Vaes Doloro. Yes, anyway. So, yeah, we've got lousy food, warm beer, what else? Oh, there's horse meat. Yeah, horse meat. Very popular around here because that's pretty much all that there is. We still have some of that because you see, we butchered a horse recently, as we have a few of those and nowhere to go. So yeah, we're a bit sedentary, you see. You know, this horse business is going to be important, by the way. So keep it in mind, dear listener. This horse business. So yeah, how would you like a bit of the old equine flesh? I can cook it with some onions. I've got plenty of those. Just need to fetch my son, who's not really my son, to grab some onions and bada bing bada boom. You'll love it. You'll love it, mate. We do it special. We do it Florentine. So you see what's going on here. There's a sinister atmosphere here, isn't it? Isn't there? I don't know, like sinister is the right word for it, but it kind of reminds me of Tarantino's Hateful Eight, where everyone is there at this inn, but not really belonging, or rather, what they're doing there is not really what they claim they're doing there. And I suppose I'll stop talking about the Hateful Eight right now, because of my spoiler-free policy, regardless of what, not just to this book series. Now, have I mentioned it yet, by the way? Have I forgotten to mention it? Yeah, no spoilers from me. I mean, I will assume that you, dear listener, have made it this far, reading the Song of Ice and Fire, but no further than that. So in this series, I will only be looking back and not forward. Anyway, shall we spend a little time on this Jaime Brienne dynamic while you and I are so amiably chatting, dear listener? Because we're in Jaime's head right now, and so far, of the first three thought bubbles we encounter, in italics, you recognize them because they're in italics. Two of them show us Jaime wanted to get rid of Brienne either by stealing a horse and escaping, or by strangling her with the chains he is bound in. Which, by the way, strangling someone with a chain could be foreshadowing something. Not to mention the crossbow, which James declares to be a coward's weapon. Or maybe, come on, Jaime, it could be the only chance of weapon for someone who doesn't have a sword handy. And both of these foreshadowing bits might or might not point to a certain Tyrion chapter later on. Okay, that's all I'll say about it. So yeah, Jaime still either strongly detests, loathes Brienne, or that's what he keeps telling himself in his own head. That's still he's feeling towards her. But every now and then he has these, she's not so bad. Big blue, beautiful eyes, and she's smart. She's brave. Oh, she knows how to handle a sword. But then he goes back and, no, what am I thinking? No, I hate her. I could totally kill her, and then I'll be free to go to travel to Cersei. That's his main line of thinking. So far, at this point. So anyway, Brienne is always blurting out her traveling plans to anyone who listen, possibly more for us readers' benefit than because characters such as her would actually share her plans with someone she's just met. But yeah, because she says to the innkeep who's not an innkeep, we won't be taking the King's Road. If it's as dangerous as you say, sir, we plan to follow the Trident. We've got a boat, you see, all the way to Maidenpool, then proceed by land via Duskendale and Rosby. So we'll be safe. Look at a map, dear listener. That kind of makes sense. But I don't know if you remember, But we learned in Tyrion 1, this very book, that Duskendale is precisely where Roose Bolton has dispatched Sir Helman Tolhart and Robert Glover to do a bit of pillaging for unfathomable reasons, to Tyrion and to us so far anyway. Not to mention that Tywin is aware of that, so he's sent Randall Tarley and Gregor Clegane to intercept them. And yeah, isn't it strange that Tywin should have such intimate knowledge of Roose Bolton's tactics and plans? Anyway, my point is, yes, this is supposed to happen in a near future, according to Mr. Feldman's timeline. But if Brienne and company do stick to this itinerary, Maidenpool, Duskendale, and then Rosby, they may well end up in the middle of a ferocious battle by the time they reach Duskendale. Just saying. Anyway, they won't be going that way, just so you know. The innkeep, you see, who's not an innkeep, I should point out for the 7th time. He goes, no way. I mean, you'll never even reach Duskendale. There's bandits, outlaws, muggers, drug dealers, arsonists. Not to mention the Lightning Lord. Who's this fella? Why, sir, the Lightning Lord is none other than Sir Beric Dondarrion and his merry companions, including Thoros of Myr, the Red Priest, the guy who lights his sword on fire. Ned Stark had dispatched him out there to bring Sir Gregor to justice, you see, way back in A Game of Thrones, Book 1. And now Ned is dead, but these guys are still roaming around the countryside. And you'll remember from Arya's chapters in Harrenhal, that's in A Clash of Kings, that those vile men on Gregor's payroll were casually capturing villagers and torturing them in an attempt to force them to tell them Dondarrion's whereabouts. Because even though urban legends have it that Gregor had already killed Dondarrion at least once, well, the dude just can't be killed, sir. Yep, that's what the innkeep tells them. He tells them all of that. He's got a very meta kind of knowledge of what's going on around these parts. He even cites titles of the book, ISBN and everything. So he goes, look, if you want my advice, yeah, you'd be safer traveling by land from here. There, I said it. To which Brienne replies, well, easy to say, but we'll need horses for that. Horses? The man, because at that point the man who isn't an innkeep is all like, oh, horses, funny you should mention that. We just happen to have 3, and they're of course not for sale at any price. And sure enough, cut to them heading to the stable, which is kept in disgusting conditions. This might be a clue to something. Horse dung and flies everywhere. And the horses are a bit mismatched, the 3 not for sale at any price horses. There's a knight's palfrey, which is probably the most, upmarket model. Then there's a brown plough horse, and finally a white gelded that has clearly seen better days. And now he's only seen the worst days, and only from one eye, because he's blind on the other. And there's something suspicious about the story. The innkeep tells them, of how they came in possession of these horses. So, these three lovely horses. Funny story. One was already there, and the other 2 sort of wandered around, and we sort of captured them. What are you going to do? Oh, lovely weather we're having today, huh? So, suspicious. That's all I'm going to say. Jamie inspects the horses and concludes that the palfrey is worth a gold coin, the plough horse is worth a silver coin. You see, I hate it in the world building of any story when it's not clear. It's not clear what currency can actually buy you in that world. It's like in that Louis C.K.'s joke about Western movies where ping, a huge coin of an unspecified currency dropped on the bar of a saloon somehow buys you everything. Or when there's a huge this is another thing I hate, is when you've made your calculations. Okay, this buys you that buys you the other type of good and service, and then you're thrown in further confusion when there's a huge disproportion between amounts used. Amounts of currency used. So, okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. From now on, I'll keep track. Now, we know that a golden dragon buys you a high quality horse, okay? Right. From now on, I'm going to really keep track of money. Because the next time a character says, I don't know, you have served me well. So, the information you've just given me is worth, 300 dragons. Here, for you. I'm just going to go, what? No. Whoa. You're giving him 300 palfrey horses? For example, I'm going to make a note of all the money used. Unless there is such a page somewhere on the Wiki of Ice and Fire. I'll have to look. The white gelding, by the way, is worth exactly nothing. In fact, Jamie says, dude, you should pay us to relieve you from it. Because it's just a waste of space. And but Brienne, she goes all out. She has a considerable budget, apparently, because she offers 3 dragons for the lot, all of them. Get it? Yeah, 3 dragons. Yeah, like Aegon's 3 dragons, the 3 dragons who persuaded Torrhen Stark to bend the knee, and that price is paid at the Inn of the Kneeling Man. There, just saying that. But anyway, you see what I mean. The innkeep says, well, gold is all sparkly and shiny, but around here, I mean, it's not like I can eat it or ride it out of this place if I ever want to leave it in a hurry. That's some sign of trouble. But Brienne goes, okay, I'll tell you what, you can have our skiff, have our skiff, dude. Help yourself to our skiff. Is that the boat? Skiff, I imagine, yeah. Do a bit of water rafting if you get bored, huh? So the guy scoops out the 3 coins fast enough and immediately offers them 3 comfy beds for some silver. No silver? You haven't got any silver? Okay, then you can have the 3 beds for copper. How about that? Which, should already be a red flag. How eager this innkeep, not quite an innkeep, is to keep those 3 characters under his roof, which is not really his roof, for the night, huh? Think about that. And it's a red flag for me because I read Pinocchio. Haha, you're not fooling me. Sleep at the inn with your gold coins, and then get robbed by masked outlaws, bandits in the night. If I remember my Pinocchio correctly. So no, thank you. No way. Not me. And Cleos Lannister / Frey, who is by far the most gullible character here. He just goes, "Oh, that would be nice, isn't it? Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah." But Brienne will have none of that. She goes, No. Give us some provisions and we'll be gone. We're so out of here. I want to catch because I lost my sign. Let's see. Right. Always keep an eye on your bookmark. Confucius said. Ignoring what's his face, Cleos's objections. Jamie asks for a smithy. Because, of course, if he's to ride a horse, then he'd better lose those chains. And what do you know? Oh, yes, well, why there is a smithy round the back. Jamie's all too happy to leave the stables because, in his own words, there is too much horse shit around here. Eh? Get it? Not just literally horse shit, but also, yeah. Because with all that horse dung, surely the stables clearly host a number of horses on top of those three, not literally on top. So just because you don't see them now, just because you don't see the other horses right now, doesn't mean that they won't be back shortly with their riders on top of them. And if the innkeep, who's not an innkeep, hasn't seen fit to inform Brienne that there's a whole community of people there, Jamie and Cleos, he hasn't informed Brienne or Jamie or Cleos of all of those details. But obviously, something fishy is going on. Anyway, so Brienne splits Jamie's chain in halves after a few attempts. Only the ankle chain, not the wrist one. While the not an innkeep gives them directions. All right, so he goes, all right, so you take this road, and when you get to the crossroad, okay, if you take the south road, things will probably go south for you. Remember that. What you want is the southwestern road, you see, okay? Right. Good, okay, so off you go, bye. Come back soon, send us a postcard, bye-bye. And off they go. And, this kind of reminds me of that scene in Barry Lyndon, Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon, where the protagonist is courteously, politely greeted by a couple of men, by sitting, chilling, by an inn. And these are the same men who are about to rob him blind in the woods later on. But Brienne is smart, you see. Yeah. She goes, she takes the south road immediately, to Jamie's approval. He doesn't say anything, but he goes, well done, Bree. Bree. You're about to become my favorite type of cheese, and expectedly, the only one who doesn't get what's going on is Cleos, who's all like, but surely this is the very road the helpful innkeep told us not to take. But Jamie goes, nah, mate, listen, she's smart. Look, He's partner in crimes. This innkeep's partners in crime are waiting for us in the woods, to ambush us. Let's take the south road and stop complaining. Anyway, at least you got the good horse. What are you complaining about, dude? Right. See, the fact is, somehow Brienne reminds Jamie. This is where he starts thinking. No. She reminds him of his brother Tyrion. At first, the thought puzzles him because, the two have nothing in common. Although if you think about it, there is one thing that brings them together. Neither of them, with their unusual size and their ambitions, what makes them tick, shall we say, neither of them can be easily pigeonholed in any category. That is, any category expected by the society they live in. So, in a way, okay, yes. And so, I don't know, it's just, they camp there, and after riding for quite a while, and he goes, do you have any siblings? No, I am my father's only daughter. Aha, you were gonna say son. You were gonna say son. Yeah, well, no wonder, because you don't look much like a woman. Ha, ha, ha. But then he apologizes. Because he feels like he's just insulted his own brother. By now, the comparison is clear in his head. To which Brienne counterattacks immediately. Well, you apologize. You're going to apologize all you like. Your sins are beyond forgiveness, Kingslayer. And he goes, whoa. He goes, whoa, what have I ever done to you that you're so hostile? What's with the hostility, And she's like, well, it's not what you've done to me. It's what you've done to others. Jamie's all like, oh, all right, King Ares, is that right? Yeah, I get it, King Ares. Will everybody please shut up about me killing Ares for just 5 minutes? Are we all forgetting that I did the world a favor? And I know it's been said by others, like those two who run a Not a Cast podcast, which I recommend warmly. What are their names? Jeff and Emmett. It's been said by them, as far as I remember, that really Jamie mentioned Ares's assassination unprompted, because Brienne never said anything about it. After all, maybe she meant something else. You harmed others. Yeah, well, Brienne was, after all, a witness when Jamie confessed to Catelyn to pushing Bran out of that window. So maybe that's what she meant. I know that all that kind of like, yes, okay, it fits, but I don't think, you know what? I don't think I entirely agree, because look, she literally just called him Kingslayer, like just now. So what else is he going to think? What else is he going to think she's reproaching him of? But anyway, since we're on the topic, why she goes? Why did you take? Why did you take those? Kingsguard's oaths anyway? Since they clearly mean nothing to you. And Jamie goes, oh well, you know me. I was young and foolish, an idealist, really. Needed the money. No, I was young and needed the money. No, but that's what that's what he's saying. But what he's actually thinking is something else, and this is where we get a bit of a backstory. We're back to that famous phrase that he uttered while casually pushing Bran off the window. The things I do for love, As the story goes, when both Jamie and Cersei were like 15, Tywin, who was hand to King Aerys at the time, was plotting to marry them both. Both these strapping young teenagers, blonde teenagers. Cersei was supposed to marry either Targaryen brother. I mean, Rhaegar, in case his wife Elia Martell kicked the bucket, because it was deemed that she would get some illness of sorts. I don't know. Jamie just happens to think in this chapter, well, she wasn't always the healthiest of women. All right, take your word for it, Jamie boy. And if not Rhaegar, then possibly Viserys, as soon as the brat was old enough. Whereas Jamie, are you sitting down, dear listener? Jamie was supposed to marry none other than Lysa Tully. That's right. Cersei laid it all out to Jamie. She goes, oh, this is our deal. This is our deal, and it's going to be our, what's the word, predicament. But she had also come up with a plan. What if, she goes, at the time she had said, what if, listen up, what if Jamie were to take the white, what if you, Jamie, were to take the white, as it were, join the Kingsguard? Because that would mean two things. A, it would be always Jamie. Am I talking as Cersei to Jamie right now, or am I like an off-screen narrator? I'm getting confused here. Okay, I'm an off-screen narrator. The plan of Jamie donning the white cloak had two purposes. A, he would always be stationed in King's Landing, so near Cersei. Because, I mean, if she was to marry one of, the king's sons, then clearly they would both be stationed in King's Landing. And B, he wouldn't be allowed to take a wife, which would make, things a bit easier. It would have been a win-win, because the twins would have always been in the same castle, able to carry on with their relationship, adding adultery to incest, huh? And besides, Coincidentally, check this out. Coincidentally, one position as member of the King's Guard had just opened. What do you know? Because you see, the Sir Harlan Grandison had just died peacefully in his sleep. In fact, according to a reader's theory, or several readers, but the theory is only one, Cersei actually poisoned this fella to make room for Jaime. What a plot, and what a family! They kind of remind me of the Borgias, that family in Renaissance Florence. This is the same Florence where Niccolo Machiavelli operated. So yeah, it's that kind of Florence I'm talking about. And there was a TV series about Lucretia. Lucretia was the one the poison expert. Lucretia Borgia, poison expert. She would poison. She would poison everyone who happened to be standing in her way. And there was a TV series about them, which I just looked it up recently. This is the first season came up in 2011, so I'm thinking maybe they were riding on the success of, this very series, Game of Thrones. And there was who was in it? Jeremy Irons, because who else, right? Right. So anyway, since as you well know by now, dear listener, that nothing ever goes as planned in this series of books. Tywin got so mad at Jaime being tapped for membership in the King's Guard that he immediately returned his Hand of the King's badge and chain to Human Resources, and resigned from his post and went straight back to Castle Rock, taking Cersei with him. Ha! So they just basically swapped places, Jaime and Cersei. And because at Castle Rock, that's where Jaime's family remained until Robert's rebellion. Meanwhile, Jaime remained in King's Landing, guarding a mad king who was getting increasingly insane, by the way. And he's here. Now we're back to the present time. And he reminisces on the 4 guys who succeeded his father in the position of Hand of the King. Everything is like being planted, by George Martin, the good gardener here. The what's the word? The constant gardener, isn't he? All right. So he goes. He's thinking about these four hands, 4 unlucky hands, like at poker. He's thinking there was one whose sigil was a horn of plenty. I don't know. I'll look him up later because right now I can't think of it. Then another bearing the sigil of a griffin. This is John Connington. His story will be better fleshed out in the future. And both these hands ended exiled by Aerys, unhappy, presumably, stripped of their assets. But even less lucky was the 3rd guy, whose sigil was a mason dagger. Again, I'll have to look that up on the old wiki. This guy ended up dipped in wildfire, I imagine. He was burned alive. We can assume it done bad. It done real bad. That he must have somehow displeased Aerys, and we'll find out. I guess we'll read the details in a later chapter. And finally, Rossart's a famous one, who was made hand to the king for no other merit than being a pyromancer, from the Guild of Alchemists. And we know how fond of wildfire King Aerys was, so how fitting this last hand is a little Rossart. Jaime keeps thinking about it. That slime, the piece of slime. He regrets not drowning him, which I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what he means there. He deserved to be drowned. I don't know why. Because fire, water. Is that? But he did kill him. Yeah, Jamie did kill him. It's not a spoiler because we'll find out in this very chapter. I'm assuming you've finished reading this chapter. We'll see that like literally in a second. Anyway, so Jamie just goes, okay, well, you know what, Brienne, you're no better than me, since word on the street is that you murdered Renly, as his quote unquote King's Guard. And so he goes out. Ari, no. Look, we know you did it. Don't be telling me no porcupines about no shadow assassin, because no one's buying that. Go on, tell it true. Was it because you was having your period? Oops, because it's things. Wait a minute. He's going, Jamie, this is all. I've gone too far. Whoops, it is. I believe I've gone too far. I'm feeling quite the fool. Now we're gonna have to duel to the death, and he's already like planning a strategy to win the duel. Maybe I can just snatch the dagger of her hand and I just stab her with it. But no, because Brienne just goes, yeah, well, you say what you like, but the fact remains, Kingslayer, I was a proper Kingsguard, and you were not. There. Yeah, you know what? I'm paraphrasing all of that, yeah, in case you hadn't noticed. None of that is verbatim, but that's kind of like the gist. It's she goes, why would you? Why would you? The concept being that she wants to know why would you despise, the white cloak, since it's such an honor. That's, I guess, the gist, the real, gist. When I was donning the white, I performed my duties at best of my abilities, whereas you, phew. At which point, Jamie goes, okay, well, whatever, you know what, whatever. I earned whatever. I earned all of my accomplishments. No, none of that was just handed to me, all right? And being a member, in fact, you know what? Being a member of the Kingsguard was actually beneath me, with my resume and all. So it might be a big deal to you, just because you can never be a knight, because you're a woman. There. See what I mean? It always boils down to that. Oh, God. So he's all happy and smug that he's at the last word. And you know how it happens. All that talk of the Mad King makes him eventually dream of the Mad King as soon as he falls asleep. Yeah, I forgot to mention that at some point they fall asleep. Still hating each other. So he dreams, definitely not for the first time, of the day when he killed Aerys. Surprise, surprise. Now, I think that's a clever narrative trick, because being a dream, we can't be too sure as to how accurate it is. So, an author allows him or herself to take some liberties with the story because, hey, plausible deniability. Don't. What do you got? What do you want from me? It was a dream. Didn't I tell you? So anyway, so he's dreaming about that day, and he's just in his dream. He's just done killing the pyromancer. You noticed you never remember the beginning of a dream. So he finds himself in the middle of it. I've just killed Rossart. I haven't drowned him, but I've killed him. My sword is all bloody, and and he's remarking to himself that he fought, that Rossart defended himself. He fought like an alchemist. What does that mean? Okay, so like someone who spent all his life in a chemical laboratory, and someone who has had any training, any sword, fencing, whatever. But the way he said it, he fought like an alchemist. This kind of reminds me of that Arnold Schwarzenegger line in that movie. Come on, you hit like a vegetarian. The film, what was it, with Sylvester Stallone. So anyway, he's killed Rossart, the pyromancer, and his daddy's army is out there sacking the city. here and there. And these are the final days, in fact, this is the final day of Robert's rebellion. And the Northmen are also on their way through the king's gate. So yeah, the days, the hours are pretty much numbered for the dragon dynasty. So Jaime proceeds to kill Aerys. Just that. That's what he did. That's the sound of a sword penetrating Aerys's shoulders. The latter dies in the most undignified way. I'm not going to give you any details in case you, gentle listener, happen to be snacking right now. So that's that's it. Oh, that's the end. This is the end, my friend. Embrace it. Or maybe he did the Nazi douchebag that you see in the Nazi douchebag move that you see in Saving Private Ryan as he slides the blade, deeper and deeper. He goes shh, 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 shh. Yeah, that is such such a villain and yet somehow badass thing to do. Shh, 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 shh. Anyway, so he dies. Aerys dies, squealing like a pig. That I can tell you. That's not going to ruin your appetite, I hope. And then Jaime just waits in his memory / dream. He just waits for the invading armies to arrive. Whoever arrives first, Lannisters, Northmen, and as luck would have it, a Lannister gets there first. This is all in his dream, but it may well have happened exactly like that. In fact, probably word for word. Why not? So the commanding officer goes, do you know I forgot the name? Do you really need it right now? Because it's on a page. Sir Ellis Westerling. Westerling. Oh, yeah, these will become important, these guys. This family. And Lord Craighall, who is the very lord that Jaime had sort of like squired for since between the ages of 12 and 15. This was all part of his memory in this same chapter. And so these are the commanding officers leading, the sacking, the brave officers who, what do? They just sack the city. Well done. Wow, how brave. So anyway, yeah, because, come on. People hors de combat, according to the Geneva Convention. You don't just... Anyway, loot and rape and maim and kill. Right, okay, enough of that. So he goes, so they see Jaime. Jaime's there on the throne. I think I'm gonna have to leave to let the cat out at some point. I can hear it. Yeah, can you hear? It goes. Oh, yeah. So anyway, the commanding officer goes, "Oi, Jaime, oi, what's it gonna be, mate? Are you gonna be the next king now?" But he goes, but Jaime went at the time. He said, "No. This throne is ghastly and not really comfy. Tell you what I'll do. I'll sit on it carefully, because it's all like blades and things, and you can really castrate yourself. Tell you what I'll do. I'll keep it warm for whoever arrives first. Whoever gets here first gets the throne. Yeah? Do you like that? These are my rules. So then you guys decide who the next king is going to be. Just leave me out of it. For now, I'm just going to keep it warm." And he sits on the throne. And as fate would have it, the first faction leader, first, proper leader, the first POV guy to enter the throne room happens to be Ned Stark. And I just love how we've come full circle from that other chapter, Eddard 2 in a Game of Thrones. Well, yeah, of course, like duh, where else would an Eddard chapter be? If it's an Eddard, it's in a Game of Thrones. And it's a chapter where we see Ned's memory of that very same day, until these two memories converge to the point where Jaime's sitting on the throne and he's saying, "This bloody thing is too uncomfortable." Eddard II, Jaime II. Coincidence? This, I don't know what to call myself. I'm not an author. This reader, yeah, that's it. I'm a reader. I'm a reader, just like you, gentle listener. This reader thinks not. It's not a coincidence. Well done, Georgie boy. If I may address you thusly, you did a great job. This is a fantastic chapter. Lots to talk about, and we'll just wrap it up with the final bits. Like he's woken up from his dream, Jamie, because that's when Brienne wakes him up with an unceremonious kick in the not in the ribs. What did you think? What did you think I was gonna say? And she goes, "Get up, mate. It started to rain. Time to go." And off they go. South, as it happens. Well, dear listener, thank you for following me all this far. If you happen to like this kind of content, you feel free to do the usual things that people do in these channels, and I hope to talk to you very soon. All the best. Ciao.